joined once again by Matthew Lopez, who's going to be taking on Alejandro Perez at UFC on Fox 29 on April 14th. Matt, what's going on, man? How are you?
Life's good. I can't complain. Got another fight in the near future, so things are going good.
Awesome. And I know you just had practice today. What'd you work on today in practice?
Well, I did a lot. We had a strength and conditioning session, and then I did a mitt session with the genius Trevor Whitman, the mad scientist. Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing.
Well, let's talk about this card right off the bat, man. UFC on Fox 29 in Arizona. I mean, how stoked were you when you found out you're going to be on this card, and also on the same card as your teammate Justin Gaethje?
It's a dream come true, to be honest with you. I fought one time for King of the Cage at the beginning of my career in Scottsdale, and it was a big turnout with family and friends. And then this is just on a way more grand scale, so it was so exciting. I was pushing for that March 3rd card that just happened, and I'm glad that everything fell through, and I was able to get on this card because how many times do you get to fight in front of your home state? So the opportunity and timing and everything like that just aligned up perfectly. So it was good.
How many people are hitting you up for tickets?
Oh, shit. You have cousins that you never even knew you had.
People coming out of the woodwork. Hey, hook me up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that's annoying, but obviously it's good to have all that support and everything like that. Now let's quickly talk about your last fight. I know things didn't go your way in that one, but you fought one of the best bantamweights in the world in Rafael Assunção. What do you sort of take away from that performance in that matchup at UFC Fight Night 120?
So what I've been telling people is I've competed my whole life, and I'm the sorest loser that you'll ever meet. I'm that kid, when I was a kid, I'm the guy that would throw his headgear and throw a fit, and I hate it. I never kept second place medals, and this was the most okay I've ever been with a loss, as weird as that sounded. For the reasons being, I'm very new to this sport. I was ranked 13 or 14, and I got a shot to fight the number 3 guy in the world who's been at the top of this bantamweight division for the last 5 years or so, 4 years, and who's had big. He fought Jorge Masvidal, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like, so right after the fight, I was obviously upset because the competitor in me. But once I got time to soak it in and really kind of break everything down, I wasn't too upset. Like I thought my performance was okay, and I know I could have changed some things. But the thing reason why I hold my head up high is that because I had 12 fights to that point, and if I would have just changed a couple little things, if I would have put the pressure on him just a little bit more, and I would have thrown a little bit more punches, that fight could have been easily mine. You know what I mean? The first round, I thought I won that round. I didn't see the scorecard, so I don't know who they gave it to. It's kind of lackadaisical round. Second round, he for sure won that round. And then third round, he was winning that round. But he wasn't whooping my ass. You know what I mean? He never hurt me. He never, I hate to say this, but to hang with the number 3 guy in the world, coming in so early in my career, it gave me a lot of optimism, is what it did. And I know if I would have fought him a week later and made those adjustments, I would have won that fight. And that's how I look at it. So surprisingly, I'm comfortable with the loss, and it kind of sparked put a spark in my butt. So I'm excited for this going forward, and things I get to work on and just get better.
And you mentioned wanting to get on that March 2nd card that just passed by. When did you want to get, ideally back in the cage? Was it on March 2nd or was it before that? Because your last fight was in November. It's been a bit of a layoff.
Yeah, I wanted to get right back in, but I wasn't really pushing the UFC or Sean Shelby or anything like, hey, get me a fight. I took a couple of weeks off, and then I just we don't have anything else to do in life. You know what I mean? All we do is train and fight. So I was getting kind of bored. And then I was probably in the gym 2 weeks later. And then I was like, well, fuck, I might as well get a fight, you know? So nothing was materializing. And then I got on my manager. I was like, dude, come on, get me on that March 3rd card. I have a lot of family in Vegas, and Arizona's, you know, fairly close. So we had a couple opponents, and, you know, there was a verbal agreement, and then it just kind of fell through. So, but yeah, that's the name of the business. A lot of people's timelines don't match up as well as I would like them, and that's just what happened. So,
are you allowed to say who you were supposed to fight on that card? You said verbal agreements. So it sounded like something was in place. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. I have to ask.
I don't want to say it because I know the dude personally, so I'm not gonna put him out there on Front Street.
No, fair enough. Absolutely. No, I like the you got to keep it professional. I like that. Let's talk about your opponent here, Alejandro Perez. He's got that 19-6-1 record. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
I think he's similar to Sun Tzu. He's, as far as stylistically, I don't know about his ground game so much. But I think, to be honest with you, I think he's going to be the hardest test of my career. That's funny that I say that because I just fought the number 3 guy, but the number 3 guy to me wasn't a danger. I didn't see him knocking me out or submitting me, or, you know, so this guy has knockout abilities. He's going to come forward. He's, you know, got the Latin heart, the Mexican heart. And he's going to make it a dogfight. If you know, I don't watch film, but the UFC shows that I've watched and I've seen him on, you know, he comes out there and he goes out there and wins and puts it out on the line. So I think that's going to work in my advantage of being able to open up some opportunities for me against him. So, but I think as far as his mental toughness and his will to win is what's going to make this a great fight. Not necessarily his striking or his grappling, but his will to win. And I don't think it's bigger than mine. So.
And for this training camp, is it just the same training partners as always? You know, Justin Gaethje's in the main event. You've got Brandon Gertz, you know, guys like that are sort of helping you get ready?
We actually, Neil Melanson, who was out with the Black Zillions, brought Carrington Banks, who's in Bellator. Abel Trujillo is here. And then Pat Cummins is not my training partner, but Pat Cummins is a longtime friend from Southern California. So they're all out here now. So it gives a couple more bodies. And then I got, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, when you're in the UFC, you have all these UFC fighters around you that are helping you out, but it's not the case. It's these guys that are in the LFA, these guys that are in the local shows that are there every single day trying to scrap and claw their way up to the big show. I have Rakan Adawan, who fights for Spartan Combat League. He's a 125er, but he gives me very good looks and very good goes, and I can count on that guy every single day to be in the gym. Even if I practice at an odd hour, he'll come and he'll show up. And then I got Joe Guerrero, who's also Spartan Combat League. He's a 135er, and those two guys are, you know, the closest guys to my size that they're willing to be in there with me every single day. And those are the most important people in your training camp. Those guys that are going to fight every single day because, you know, they still got a lot to prove.
Yeah, no, that's great, and I love hearing the plugs too, because they're guys that we could see in the UFC very soon as well. You know, guys sort of on the come up. You mentioned Neil Melanson. What's sort of the connection there to your camp and him? Because, you know, he's all the way out in Florida now. How did that get set up with him bringing his guys over?
So I don't know exactly how, but Pat Cummins had been training with him out in Florida with the Black Zillions. I've known Pat since I started at Reign in Southern California with Mark Munoz and Jake Ellenberg and all those guys. Pat during Thanksgiving actually said, "Hey, I'm going to be out in town." I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, we're going to look for a gym." I was like, "Who's we?" And he said, "Neil." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So he came over, he stayed at the house at night, and then the next day they were going to go to a couple of X Factory and then Genesis, and he called me and said, "Hey, we're gonna make home Genesis our home." So it was pretty cool. So now he's kind of main stable there.
That's very cool. Okay, I didn't know that. It's always good to hear these stories and everything like that. And those training partners like Carrington Banks and Abel Trujillo, they're just there for the camp, or have they like fully relocated?
No, they have an apartment here, so they're here full time now.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting. How's your weight cut going? Has that process sort of started yet? I know this fight's a bit of a ways away.
Yeah, the diet has started, and I woke up this morning at 150, so I'm ahead of schedule. The last fight I missed weight, and that kind of and didn't piss me off, but I knew I had to make some changes. I knew I had to be better and more strict with myself leading up to the fight. I felt like that last fight was the best weight cut I've ever had, and some things went wrong. I don't know what they were. I couldn't tell you. But this I'm just being a little bit more stingy with myself and holding myself a little bit more accountable. Not that I didn't do it last time, but I can't afford to have that happen again. I don't want to be a black eye. I don't want
you don't want to be that guy who they have to worry about they like we had Mackenzie Dern who made weight in her debut, and that's sort of lived with her throughout her career, so you don't want to be that person. So
exactly, and it's it's kind of just you don't want to make it stressful on your bosses or anything like that. So definitely just being more diligent.
Have you sought out any help in regards to cutting? I mean, you've cut weight your whole life, but I mean, have you kind of got any tips maybe since then, or from anyone?
Yeah, Clint Wattenberg. He works at the UFC PI.
Oh, great. Okay, so you've been working with someone over there.
I'm in a weekly contact with him, as well as I was for the last camp. But any questions I have, he always asks me how my weight is, what's my intake, and everything like that. So if he feels like I'm on track, he just makes a little bit of adjustment. So. Good.
Interesting. Good stuff. How do you see this fight sort of playing out on April 14th?
I think it's just going to be a war. I've continually built my skill every single time I step in, and not in the cage, and every time I step in the gym. I get better every single day. I just learned this technique from Trevor, and I applied it on Saturday when I was sparring, and it was working. And every single day I meet with that guy, I learn something new. I'm continuing to get better, and it's just going to show April 14th. So whether I would like to piece him up on the feet, but if I have to take him down, I'll take him down. If I don't have to take him down, whatever the case may be, I'm a opportunist, so I'm just going to take whatever he gives me. But I definitely see a very improved fighter.
And if you go in this fight, you come out healthy and you're good to go, are you looking for a quick turnaround, maybe fight in the summer or something like that, or do you want to take some time off after this fight?
No, right away, July 7th.
July 7th? Oh, you want to get on International Fight Week then?
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
So,
okay,
yep. Interesting.
What are you watching on TV right now on Netflix? What's getting you through training camp?
So what did we just finish? What did I told you last? I think I told you last time. Grey's Anatomy's been a staple. I watch a lot of the ID channel,
Investigation
the killing,
Discovery,
the killing show. So that's literally what I've been watching. But Shameless. Have you seen that?
Of course, yeah. I've watched every season. It's great.
Shameless is literally the best show I've ever seen.
It's in my top 5 for sure. The thing I like about it is that it's so you get a bit of drama, a lot of comedy, and a bit of everything in between, and just some moments where you're like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah. And for a lot of stuff just comes out of left field. You're like, whoa, that was a little inappropriate, but some of the stuff is pretty bad. But I honestly love that show. But other than that, that's your top 5. What's your number 1?
Oh, it's number 1 has always been Sopranos.
Sopranos? See, I haven't gotten to that, and that's long, right? That's
I forget how many seasons, but I think just because I started watching it while it was still airing as well, so I kind of caught up, and then I watched it right till the very end, and I just think I don't know, just actors wise and everything, the story, the character building in that show was so good, and it's sort of the same thing. There's a lot of violence and there's a bunch of funny moments and stuff, and just really good story building. So Sopranos is definitely on the top of my list. But I was going to actually mention to you, have you seen Ozark? It's on Netflix right now. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's with Jason Bateman. So you like the investigation discovery
Yep.
stuff. It's kind of like that. Like it's about this. I won't go into too much detail, but it's about this guy who's trying to launder money, and it's kind of this murder mystery type thing that's sort of unfolding. So if you go on there and check it out, Jason Bateman is like the main character.
I like him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in there, and it's
Okay.
pretty interesting. I'm like 6 or 7 episodes in. I'm really enjoying it. So.
All right, I'm gonna have to check it out. My girlfriend's been trying to find a show that we can get into. So
Does your girlfriend like watching Shameless as well? Because mine's kind of on the fence.
So she's the one that she usually introduces me to all these shows, and then she gets all pissed off because I just binge watch them.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Yeah, because I only work out, once or twice a day. So then I have these breaks, and I get to watch them. And she works at the hospital, so she's working 8-10 hour shifts. So she showed me Shameless, and she loved it. So.
Good stuff. Well, speaking of things you got to check out, this card actually is going to be awesome. It's UFC on Fox 29 coming up here April 14th. Matt, it's always good catching up with you, man. I always appreciate the time. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. And I'm sure you got some sponsors. I'm sure you got some shout-outs. The floor is yours, man.
Instagram, Matthew Lopez 135. Twitter is Matthew Lopez 135. They're linked. Facebook, just search me, Matt Lopez. But here's what I want to do. I want to tell you something. And I've been thinking about this a lot. Lately there's been a lot of these so-called MMA journalists that have been, going out and trying to be more TMZ and celebrity gossip journalists and talking about guys with, their girlfriends breaking up and,
you saw my tweet.
Not only that, I was previous to that. And then, giving all these guys that are just had one fight in the UFC with a mediocre guy, and people are giving them so much praise and all this stuff. But they're doing it more because of their outside work of the octagon and not what they've been doing inside the octagon. And, you give guys a platform that are 2-0, 1-2, 2-1. It doesn't matter, all the way up to the best guys in the UFC. So from me, I appreciate the work that you do. It's not a clickbait kind of interviews and process. You let people tell their story. There's plenty of people in the UFC that are that need to be celebrated, and the Jeremy Stevens, the Frankie Edgars, the Max Holloways, the Donald Cerrones, the Mighty Mouses, those guys like that have gone above and beyond in their fight game and outside the octagon. They don't really get a lot of credit because they're not smoking weed on their Instagram, and they're not, calling people out and acting like a fool, because they don't do that stuff. They don't get the headlines unless it's related to their fight, So I appreciate, you sticking to what this sport's about. And it's about giving people chances, letting people live their dreams. And other than that, I just want to say I appreciate you, James.
Well, I really appreciate that, man. And, it's always good getting a chance to talk to you as well. And, I'm honestly, I'm flattered. I mean, for me, it's just like I want us to, talk about the fights and the sport as much as we can. I know that doesn't always pay the bills for some of these sites, but in general, it's important because, I just think of it this way. The NFL, they reference the NCAA ranks. Why don't we do that in the UFC enough? And it just, I don't get that. So.
Well, I think it's gone to the MMA fighting and MMA junkie and all their shit is just about clickbait. It's all about who broke up with who, or did you see what's his name smoking weed with Snoop Dogg, got a DM and all that. Who gives a shit about that? You know what I mean? I came across Jared Gordon's story about his addiction and everything like that. And I've had 2 brothers that have suffered for addiction, probably the last 10 years. And that really touched me, but a lot of people don't know about that because they're going to scroll over that because they want to see who Snoop Dogg is talking about or why, what's his name, broke up with his girlfriend but that shit's all irrelevant. You know what I mean? Those guys haven't done shit. O'Malley's 2-0 in the UFC. And he's had 2, I think, mediocre wins. The opponents aren't the greatest guys, and you can't be comparing him to some of these greats that have been doing it for a long time. He hasn't done anything yet. I haven't done anything yet. So it just gets under my skin when a lot of these media outlets especially Ariel Juan, he's pissing me off. They just want these guys that are gonna get them clicks and views on their thing, but they don't have any substance as far as MMA substance. They have drama substance, TMZ substance, but that's not what this is about. So, like I said, I appreciate the work and what you put out, because it's genuine stuff. You get to learn about people, and it's not about this bullshit that other sites are putting out. So I appreciate that.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.